First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Good evening, everybody. I am Meteorologist Ross Mummah with a First Coast News Plus weather impact alert update for you on the winter storm that has trekked all across the Gulf Coast and the deep southeast of the United States, bringing historic snowfall to locations like New Orleans, who have picked up anywhere from 8 to nearly 12 inches of snow in some spots, more than they have seen in a century. Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, picking up over 6 inches. Both of which have broken 130-year-old records. And now we are continuing to watch for that wintry precipitation to make its way here towards the First Coast. We've actually seen snow, we've seen sleet, and freezing rain. So all three modes of precipitation have fallen up in Waycross here tonight. We've gotten some pictures of some snow actually coating the ground up in Pierce County. And meteorologist Lee Southwick just posted a couple pictures on her Instagram showing that the ground is beginning to freeze up a good bit. So a coating of ice up in the Waycross area here now tonight. So it's showing snow in Waycross, but you're also so many miles away from the radar beam that's actually looking fairly high up aloft in the atmosphere. So what's actually happening at the surface is likely more so in the way of sleet and freezing rain with a little bit of some wet snowflakes mixing in. And a lot of this is based off of what the actual ground temperature is at. So we are at 33 degrees in Jacksonville right now, very close to that freezing point, but because we're at 33, this is what I call the most miserable, worst feeling weather you can ever get. 33 degrees and rain. It is damp, raw, wet. It's just bone-chilling weather out there right now, especially when you factor in the wind and the wind chill, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But 33 degrees in Jacksonville, so because of that, we are just seeing rain. Same story for folks down towards NAS Jax, St. Augustine, Mayport, Palatka, even down in Putnam County. But when you look off to the north, well, there's a live look out at Everbank Stadium in downtown Jacksonville. The rain is coming down in full force. Winds anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour with those temperatures at 33. So it is a miserable, miserable, dreary night to be out and about at all here, but at least for the time being, nothing is freezing in Jacksonville. Now, Lake City, St. Simons Island up in Camden County, Brunswick, and although Waycross is not showing a temperature, I believe they were at 31 degrees at least about 30 minutes ago. All of those areas have begun to see at least some level of frozen precipitation, whether that is rain that is freezing on contact, so that's freezing rain, or you're seeing ice pellets or snowfall, so sleet or snow. All of those areas have started to see a little bit of that mixing over begin. Now, I talked about the winds, 10 to 15, 20 miles per hour, a little gustier out at the beaches and along the St. Johns River. So that's why you got a 22 mile per hour wind speed at NAS Jax. So just dip down there a little bit. But you factor in temperatures in the 30s, winds out of the north, wind chills right now, feeling like the mid 20s for most of us. Real feel 24 from Brunswick through St. Simons Island, Jacksonville, Keystone Heights, Lake City, wherever really. It is cold with a capital C-O-L-D out there tonight. And then you just factor in the rain moving through. Just a nasty evening to be out and about. But it's not all bad. If you like the pictures of snow, or at least the videos of it, this is a video of that snow falling up in Waycross from meteorologist Lee Southwick. So we thank Lee and meteorologist Robert Spetta for being up there. They have gotten a hotel. They're going to be reporting on the snow and the wintry mix tomorrow morning on Good Morning Jacksonville. So I urge you to tune in for that then. So there is some snow falling. This is another one sent in from one of our photojournalists. Slow-mo snow coming down. Now, this was about I'd say 45 to 60 minutes ago. The snow starting to lay on the ground. I mentioned we got pictures in from a family in Pierce County who did have that snow beginning to lay. It was really just a coating. And we'll talk about the potential snow totals in some of those areas here coming up. But on radar, it really is just a mess. Where you're going to start to see that freezing rain, sleet, and or snow fall is where those temperatures are at 32 degrees on the surface. Now, what dictates whether you see snow or freezing rain is all dependent on how warm the air is aloft. About 5,000 to 8,000 feet aloft in the atmosphere, there is a slightly warmer layer of air. Not everywhere across the board, but in some spots it's slightly warmer. So as the precipitation, it initially falls as a snowflake, right? It falls through the warmer layer, it melts, and then it's really dictated upon what does it become once it reaches the surface. If there's a cold enough air mass or cold pool at the surface, it has enough time to potentially refreeze into sleet, or if it's a little bit more of a shallow, colder area at the surface, and it's right around 32, 33, it would just hit the surface and would just freeze on contact as freezing rain. If the entire column of air has no warmer air aloft, it's all below freezing, that's when you see the snow. So it is not an exact science across the board on who is seeing what right now exactly, but the overall gist of this is if you live north of Folkston or northwest of Folkston, northern Ware, Pierce, Brantley, Glenn counties, even northern Camden County, you're starting to see that wintry mix work its way in here tonight. Now for Jacksonville and areas south, so really from the state line southward, it's mainly just a very cold rain. Lake City's having those flashes of some freezing rain and snow trying to show itself because those temperatures are right at 32 degrees at the surface. Excuse me. So folks out in Lake City might be seeing a little bit of that develop, but rest assured, all of this will gradually work its way down towards us. Now, this shows a lot of pink, so that would be freezing rain and sleet. That shows a lot of it working its way down towards Duval County, Clay, St. John's, Putnam. This is certainly well overdone, so we are not expecting that right now. It is still just rain for all of us for the time being. Now, after midnight tonight, that colder air works its way southward, especially at the surface. And you're going to notice after midnight, those temperatures gradually dip down to freezing in Jacksonville, and then below that for areas to the west and north. So if you have to travel around at all here tonight around the Jacksonville metro, you should be okay until about midnight. So you have just under 2 hours to either get yourself home or run to the grocery store or whatever you need to do. After that, then the overnight period, things have a chance to start freezing up, and especially by early tomorrow morning as that cold air continues to drag itself further south. Areas that see those temperatures hit 32 or go below, you're going to start to see those areas begin to see ice accumulations, and even more so for areas that have already gotten a layer of ice and or snow. So for folks up in Pierce County or northern Ware County where you already have snow on the ground, that will actually allow temperatures to go even lower and colder overnight. So you'll notice that here down into the upper 20s by about sunrise tomorrow morning. And sunrise is when we are expecting most of this to begin to move offshore. I've talked a couple times here tonight about you might see a few ice pellets or real wet snowflakes work their way in between about 5 and 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. This right here is what I'm talking about. It will be very light as it just exits quickly. So we're not really expecting any sort of significant either sleet and or snow for these areas right here that are in that pink by 7 to even 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. After that, then everything begins to clear on out, at least precipitation wise, although temperatures will likely still be below freezing. So it'll take until about mid-morning until we actually get the temperatures around the Jacksonville metro to warm up enough to get the thawing process to begin on the bridges and overpasses and any secondary roadways that have happened to freeze over. So here is your expected snow and really just expected frozen precipitation. So that's really snow and or sleet. Higher totals are going to be further to the north of the First Coast. I think Waycross is likely going to see about 1 to 2 inches. And then areas south, you might get a coating. I think upwards of 1 inch might be pushing it for folks really from Folkston over into Camden County, Hilliard and Nassau County, northern Baker and Columbia as well. So really the snow is not the main concern. It's going to be the possibility for ice, especially in that brighter pink shaded area, excuse me, where you get anywhere from 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice accumulation. Not only are bridges, overpasses, and roadways completely iced over and causing treacherous travel conditions, but you get that ice buildup on your trees, especially trees that still have leaves on them, adding a ton of extra weight. Same story with palm branches as well. that will drag those and break those branches down. Those could fall on power lines and cause power outages, or just the ice buildup itself on the power lines. The weight becomes too much. So if you're in any of those pink shaded areas, just be mindful. It is a possibility to see power outages early tomorrow morning, depending on how much freezing rain happens to roll through. You might not get any freezing rain, and it may mostly just be sleet that falls, which in that case is very, very good for you. But we want to heed on the side of caution. You do have that potential, but nearly everywhere in one of those two shaded regions has the chance to at least see some icy slick spots tomorrow morning. So we're going to break it down county by county here real quick for you. So depending on where you live across the First Coast, you know exactly what to expect. Worst timing has already begun there, obviously, for the northern part of the Okefenokee. The rain has already transitioned over to much more of a freezing rain and sleet, and snow has also been seen up across Ware and Pierce and Brantley County. So that will continue here throughout the remainder of tonight. Coastal southeast Georgia, so Glenn, Camden, Charlton, and then Nassau in northeast Florida. Wind gusts going to be a little bit higher here, 20 to 30 miles per hour, 30 plus out along the inlets and beaches and intercoastal. Rain-wise, that will also start to transition over to some ice, even some snow for the more northern areas there. Snow totals likely less than an inch, so you might have a light coating on top of a thin layer of ice tomorrow morning. But same story as the Okefenokee. Be mindful of those icy bridges and potential power outages there. Now, we're going to head out due west. This is an area that we're going to watch very closely for potentially the highest ice accumulation total. So that means Union, Bradford, Baker, Columbia County all have the chance to see ice develop. Lake City has already started that transition. They're at 32 degrees right now. So we will watch very closely to see how conditions fare over the overnight period and potentially deteriorate. Some light flurries might work their way in early tomorrow morning, but we're really not expecting much in the way of snow for those western areas. And same thing in Jacksonville. Really no snow, but it's a very cold, bitter rain right now. We're just 1 degree shy of hitting 32. When that does occur, likely within about the next 2 to 3 hours, that's when we'll start to see freezing rain develop and potentially some sleet as we get closer and closer to dawn tomorrow morning. So watch for those icy bridges. Worst conditions will likely be on the west and northwest sides of Duval County tomorrow morning. Areas further south then, really just west of Highway 17 for Clay and Putnam County. Otherwise, the rest of the eastern parts of Clay and Putnam and nearly all of St. Johns County should really just see a very cold rain with a weak potential for some black ice tomorrow morning. I do think I have that in here as well, so I'm just going to touch on that quick. Also, the bridges. We've had a lot of questions about the bridges. The lower the bridge, the better. So all of them have the potential to see some icing develop. But if you have to take one, if you just have to, the Main Street, the Fuller Warren, and the Buckman are your best three choices. I would recommend trying to avoid as best you can either the Acosta, Hart, Matthews, or James Point Bridge. Those are all slightly higher. They have a much better potential of seeing more significant, impactful ice. So conditions on those could become treacherous as ice buildup does occur and conditions possibly deteriorate. We will update this graphic for folks to let you know which bridges are looking the safest. Some of the ice you'll be able to clearly tell. Others may be in the form of black ice, especially just roadways that are wet. And then overnight and really closer to dawn tomorrow morning, you see those temperatures dip below freezing. So although the precipitation may have ended, the roads are still wet and you might wake up and it's 30 degrees. You will start to see black ice begin to develop. So it will be a very thin, almost transparent layer of ice on the ground. Just take it extra slow out there. Don't slam on the brakes if you're hitting a patch of ice. Try to just softly kind of pump or tap your brakes as best you can and just be very, very mindful that that is a possibility, even though it's not raining or snowing anymore. If the temperature is below 30 degrees, you do have that potential for some black ice. So just another extra thing to keep in mind here. This is just another thing about just trying to take it slow. I did want to show the 7-day, though, because there is some hope in sight. I know everyone's tuning in about the wintry mix and just kind of mess we have on the way here tonight and tomorrow morning. We're still going to be stuck in the clouds on Thursday. It will be cold, breezy, drizzly, temperatures in the mid-40s. So still another gross couple 2 days here. The sun will finally return, rest assured, by Friday. And then by the end of the weekend and next week, finally what we want. My director, Chris, over here, he's pumping his fist in the air. Finally, back into the 60s, potentially even close to 70 degrees by this time next Tuesday, or maybe not this time, but next Tuesday afternoon. So just bear with us here. We can get through this together. Cold, wintry weather here tonight and tomorrow morning. And there is some warmer weather on the horizon next week. So I think that's all for now. I will have more for you on First Coast News at 11 on NBC 12 and ABC 25. So hopefully you can tune in then for more from me and also just live looks from across the First Coast. We have reporters up in Waycross and just want to prepare you for what to expect tomorrow morning. So I appreciate you tuning in. As always, stay warm, stay safe, and take care.